right. Well, you guys, welcome back. If you are new here, we are the Habit team. The Habit is a nutrition coaching company made for women by women. Our program is built for you with coaches who put your goals, lifestyle, and personality first. If you want to learn more about us, head to the episode notes or go to thehabit.com. That's habit with a Y to either request more information or book your free discovery call.
Episode 4, you got me, myself, and I, Coach Zan here. So what I want to hone in on today is understanding self-sabotage in your own weight loss journey. And this topic came to mind because I have a client I've been working with for, 2 years. And truly, the only thing that happens is she gets in her own way. But as always, I want to teach you the psychology behind it and why your brain often fights back towards even good change. So, self-sabotage in general is when your thoughts or actions start to quietly work against your goals, even though you genuinely want to succeed. So, things you might notice showing up as, I already messed up today, I might as well just start over Monday. I'm too tired to plan meals this week, I'll just wing it. I'll never be consistent anyway, so this is never going to work for me. So when thoughts like that start to arise, they may seem harmless in the moment, but over time, they keep you stuck in the same start-stop cycle. So why does this happen? Self-sabotage usually isn't about a lack of discipline. It's about your brain trying to protect you from discomfort or failure. Change feels unsafe to your subconscious, even when it's positive, right? You're trying to make all of these initial changes when you set off to your health journey, increasing your steps, eating more protein, drinking more water, you name it. But no matter what, your brain recognizes change as something to protect you from. So it wants to basically enact all of its defense mechanisms. So for instance, if you have tried diets before and you felt deprived, you felt like you failed that diet, what's happening is your brain remembers that pain and it tries to pull you back into what's familiar. So again, even though you're trying to work on your health goals, by dieting, by getting in a caloric deficit, well, your brain remembers the past time you were in a caloric deficit. And maybe this specific approach just was not feasible for you. It wasn't sustainable. You were eating way too low of calories. You ended up getting in a binge restrict cycle, whatever it is. Your brain remembers that pain, the pain that you feel, the shame, the remorse, the guilt, the sense of failure. So now your brain has attached pain to you trying to diet and get healthier. I can compare myself to this. So when I set off on my health journey, 10 plus years ago, one of the things that I struggled with for many, many years was my binge eating. I would binge eat sweets all the time, mainly because I would deprive myself from them. So when I reintroduced them to myself, my brain would go absolutely crazy, wanting to get all of that quick dopamine. But over time, one of the biggest things that allowed me to get out of this binge cycle was my brain remembering the pain that these binges brought me every single time. So even though eating sweets was giving my brain that quick dopamine, and as a reminder, your brain's drug of choice is dopamine. It's going to do whatever it can to get that dopamine, and it's going to rapidly learn the behaviors that promote that dopamine release. So in essence, my brain should want to glob onto those binge cycles, right? Because that's where it's getting its dopamine fix. But the pain and the negative emotions that I experienced after every binge was so painful that my brain now recognized, hey, even though I'm gonna get dopamine from you binging these sweets, I want to protect you because I know what's going to happen thereafter. And the mood and the emotions that you feel after this binge are so uncomfortable that I would rather avoid them altogether. So over time, all of the binge eating that I did, it basically helped my brain learn that we don't need to do this anymore. We're sick and tired of feeling this pain. So over time, what I realized was I didn't feel the need to binge. And if I did, I felt more control and I actually was able to stop myself in my tracks before giving in and really learning what was truly happening. That was the biggest, honestly, aha moment I ever had. And it gave me validation that I'm human and I went through so many painful moments to get me to where I'm at now, and I'm living with so much freedom and flexibility, and my brain doesn't have control over me anymore. I have control over it. So that's what I mean by this isn't a lack of willpower, a lack of discipline. It is literally your brain trying to avoid the pain that you've experienced in the past. So, what can we do about it? So here's some tools to start breaking this pattern when you see them arise. So one, you want to catch the pattern early. So when you start to notice the moments when you say, I'll start over Monday, or I'll never get this right, I already blew this meal, so I might as well just eat out the rest of the day. So when you hear that little voice come up, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling overwhelmed, tired, stressed, discouraged? Awareness gives you the power to respond differently next time. Awareness gives you the power to respond rather than to react to these negative emotions. Now, step number 2, you want to shift from an all or nothing mindset to an always something mindset. And this is huge that I really work on with my clients. The biggest progress happens when you stop trying to be perfect because there is no such thing as perfect. All you want to do is start being consistent. So if your day goes off track, ask yourself, what's one small thing that I can do today to keep a promise to myself? For example, can you still drink your water? Can you hit your protein goal? Or go for a 10-minute walk? Small actions keep the momentum alive. So this concept goes back to setting minimums. That's what I like to call it, at least with my clients. Setting minimums is often an approach I give to my clients when, they're reaching a time in their life where life is crazy and it's unpredictable. They're juggling a million different responsibilities, and truly, it's tough to even track macros at this time, to even meal prep, whatever it might be. And in these seasons, it's really easy to ditch our goals entirely rather than just moving them down further on the priority list. It's even easier to slip into that all or nothing mindset and just say screw it to those goals entirely. But here's where that backfires. Rather than focusing on building habits we can continue to practice through even the busiest times, we're ditching the idea of building habits altogether. So rather than shifting our focus to maintaining progress, we may be self-sabotaging a bit, which may cause temporary relief. But undoubtedly, it's going to lead to eventual frustration. It's easy to push nutrition to the back burner, right? Or get back to it later. But that can be but the magic truly comes in finding the sweet spot between that all and that nothing. So this is where setting minimums comes into play. They're similar to daily goals, but these goals are achievable. They're non-negotiables that allow you to still practice habits, whether you're having an extra busy day, whether you're on vacation, traveling, you're with family, or when needing to just take a step back from tracking and thinking about all the little goals that you have. Your minimums are those non-negotiables that you'll stick to even if your day goes haywire. When your normal day or week will be a hot mess, you can fall back on the idea of having minimums to keep you accountable. So taking that mindset of whatever happens today, these are the things I can and will stick to. One of the biggest examples I give to my clients is drinking water, right? You can drink water while simultaneously doing other things. So even if your day is insane and you are out of the house running around, you can't tell me that you can't stop for 3 seconds to take a sip of water. And those little sips will truly add up and allow you to hit your water goal at the end of the day. So thinking of things that you can fall back on no matter what. This teaches your brain that habits aren't temporary. They will always ebb and flow, and they are a part of your life. They just sometimes need to be moved up or down on the priority list. So once you shift from that all or nothing to always something, the next thing that you'll want to do is build emotional awareness. So food often becomes a coping tool, right? For stress, boredom, or comfort. When your brain is experiencing something uncomfortable, especially negative emotions, we have learned our defense mechanisms to avoid these things, our coping mechanisms, and that can often be food. So instead of judging that, try to understand it. Next time you find yourself reaching for food outside of hunger, it's not actual physical hunger. You're realizing it's emotional hunger. Pause and ask yourself, what am I actually needing right now? Am I needing comfort? Am I needing just to calm my nervous system down? Am I needing a distraction? Am I needing relief? Then give yourself that in a different way. Step outside for a few breaths, get some sunshine, get some steps in, journal for 5 minutes. Just that self-reflection pulls you out of that negative rumination. Text a friend, call a friend, stretch, do anything to take your mind off of it. But these are healthy habits and you're not coping with food. You're just finding other dopamine activities to soothe your brain without basically ruining your nutrition habits. Next thing you'll want to do is reframe setbacks as data, not failure. And I love this one. Reframing is so important because it helps you shift from a negative perspective to a opportunity perspective, essentially. So every slip up truly is a learning opportunity. Instead of saying, I blew it, try, what can I learn from this situation so it goes differently next time? That simple reflection is how you grow awareness and emotional regulation, not by being perfect, but by staying engaged. So I often use the example of when clients go on vacation for the first time when they're in this program and they're trying to stick to their deficit goals. And vacation, you can never truly plan out every single day. There's going to be things you can control. There's going to be things you can't control. And so going into vacation, when something does pop up that you cannot control, something doesn't go as planned, you had to pivot, you had to adapt from your original plan. Instead of saying, screw it and go haywire for the rest of your vacation, take a moment and ask yourself, okay, what can I learn from this situation? How can I better prepare for this to come up the next time I'm on vacation? And so the more times you do that, you're shifting your brain into thinking you're failing. And now you're shifting your brain into learning from this situation. And now you're going to feel even more confident going into the next vacation because you allowed that challenge to be a learning opportunity. Number 5, so you're going to want to anchor to your why. When motivation dips, and it will, motivation is truly just the thing to initiate change. It is not what's going to keep the change rolling. You want to reconnect with why you started. One of the cool things that we do here at The Habit is when someone initially gets onboarded, they are really fresh in that motivation. They just signed up. They're so excited to get this program going. And we have a reflection activity they do right off the bat in their onboarding week. And it is connecting to their why. Why are you starting this? And what is this going to help you achieve? And what is, when this program is said and done, what does your perfect day look like? And it's so important because it sets the tone. And when our clients do see a severe dip in motivation and just have those, sluggish weeks, because we all go through them, we can send them these reflection activities that they did to re-anchor as to why did you start in the first place, so that you don't lose sight of that during, the hard days and the hard weeks. So write it down somewhere, though, when you see daily. it doesn't just have to be an initial reflection activity. This is something you can do every single day. Remind yourself, I'm not just doing this to lose weight. I'm doing this to feel strong, confident, and in control of my habits. That's ultimately going to get you away from relying on motivation and you just remembering, why you set on this journey in the first place. Next, you're going to want to celebrate effort and not just outcomes. We tend to only celebrate our victories, our progress, but we also need to celebrate that sometimes this shit is hard and our energy and effort needs to be validated. Your brain needs positive reinforcement. So every time you choose a small aligned action, even something as simple as tracking one meal or going for a walk, you want to acknowledge it. This is especially true on days where you are setting your minimums. Your day is absolute batshit crazy, but you always know you can rely on going back to these minimums. And so then you can look back and acknowledge your effort. Hey, even though this day was crazy, I still hit my minimums. I made that promise to myself. And was my day perfect? No. There's no such thing as perfection. But this is going to give you that positive reinforcement that your brain needs. Progress isn't always visible right away, but consistency is what's going to compound over time. Lastly, give yourself grace. This is hard. You're going to have hard days in the future as well. Self-sabotage is just a signal. It's not a flaw. It is a signal for you to slow down and build awareness so that you can respond to your emotions and not react to them. It's your mind's way of showing where you need support, where you need structure, or even self-compassion. When we mess up, and I say that with air quotes, what we need to do is not ruminate on the negative, not beat ourselves up. We are freaking human, right? And so we need to implement more of that self-compassion. The goal isn't to eliminate those moments. It's to shorten the time you stay in them. And what I mean by that is there's gonna be more days where you fall short on some of your goals and you might, be a little upset with yourself. But can you sit with that for just a moment and then carry on and not allow it to sabotage your entire journey? Because one moment, one day in the grand scheme of things is not going to derail you. Only you and you getting in your way is what will derail you. So stop starting over. Instead, just hit a pause button, breathe, acknowledge everything that you have done for yourself, and then carry on. So I'm going to wrap this up. This is essentially what self-sabotage really does, the psychology behind it, why our brains fight against us at times, even though we're trying to make positive change, and how you can ultimately override some of this and make sure that you are in control with whatever life throws your way. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this validated you and rang true to you, because we have all experienced this. And once you put this into practice, you are never going to be in your own way again.